You think you're making all the right decisions for your health? You've read the articles, followed the advice of influencers, maybe even consulted with healthcare professionals. You're drinking your green smoothies, tracking your steps, and getting your 8 hours of sleep. So why do you still feel exhausted, inflamed, and somehow off? The terrifying truth is that some of your most cherished, healthy habits might be silently killing you. Welcome to the dark side of the wellness industry that nobody talks about. I'm about to reveal 7 deadly habits that millions of Americans practice daily, believing they're the gold standard of health. But behind their virtuous facade lies a disturbing reality. These habits are actively damaging your body at a cellular level, accelerating aging and potentially setting you up for catastrophic health failures. Consider the case of Amanda, a 38-year-old marketing executive from Seattle. By all conventional standards, she was the picture of disciplined health consciousness. She woke at 5 a.m. daily for her intense cardio sessions, meticulously tracked her 1-hour 200-calorie diet, and proudly proclaimed she hadn't eaten after 6 p.m. in 3 years. Her social media showcased her dedication to what she believed was the pinnacle of healthy living. Then, without warning, her body revolted. During a routine Zoom meeting, Amanda suddenly found herself unable to form coherent sentences. The diagnosis that followed shocked her entire social circle. She had experienced a TIA, a mini-stroke, and her comprehensive blood work revealed systemic breakdown across multiple metabolic pathways. "But I did everything right," she kept repeating to her doctors at the Cleveland Clinic. The medical team's response was illuminating. "You did everything you thought was right." This disconnect between what we believe is healthy and what truly serves our biology has reached epidemic proportions in America. According to a 2024 survey by the American Public Health Association, 72% of Americans engage in at least 3 healthy habits that emerging research suggests may be actively harmful. More disturbingly, 43% report worsening health markers despite increasing their adherence to these supposed wellness practices. So what are these deadly habits masquerading as virtuous health behaviors? Let's unmask the first 3 deadly imposters. Deadly habit number 1, extreme low-calorie diets, disguised as clean eating. You've seen the transformation photos and inspirational stories. Perhaps you've even experienced the initial rush of energy and validation that comes from restricting your calories significantly. The scale shows lower numbers, people compliment your willpower, and you feel virtuous with every hunger pang you endure. What you don't see is what's happening inside your body. Dr. Melissa Hendricks, endocrinologist at Johns Hopkins Medicine, explains the disturbing reality. When caloric intake drops below certain thresholds, which vary by individual but often occur around 100 calories for adult women and 800 for men, the body initiates a cascading stress response that can have devastating consequences. This isn't about moderation or sensible portion control. This is about the extreme restriction that has become normalized in wellness circles, often disguised as clean eating, intermittent fasting gone wrong, or detoxing. Research published in the New England Journal of Medicine reveals that sustained caloric restriction below biological needs triggers a survival response that drastically alters hormonal function. Your body doesn't recognize your conscious attempt to get healthier. It only registers famine conditions. The consequences are insidious and far-reaching. Thyroid function downregulates, slowing metabolism and potentially leading to hypothyroidism. Stress hormones like cortisol rise, triggering inflammation and visceral fat storage. Sex hormone production drops precipitously, impacting everything from mood to bone density. Digestive enzyme production decreases, making nutrient absorption less efficient. The protective intestinal barrier thins, allowing bacterial translocation into the bloodstream. Perhaps most alarming is what Dr. Hendricks calls metabolic memory, the body's tendency to maintain these emergency adaptations long after normal eating resumes. We're seeing patients who restricted calories significantly for 6 or 12 months developing metabolic complications that persist for years or even decades, she notes. Take Marcus, a 42-year-old financial analyst from Chicago who prided himself on maintaining a strict 600-calorie diet for over 2 years. "I thought I was being disciplined and health conscious," he recounts. "My doctors even praised my weight loss initially." But by month 18, Marcus was experiencing crushing fatigue, brain fog, and early signs of osteopenia, decreased bone density typically not seen in men until their 60s or 70s. His testosterone levels had plummeted to those of a man in his late 80s. The truly frightening aspect, notes Dr. Walter Longo, longevity researcher at USC, is that many people experiencing these consequences believe they just need to restrict more or try harder. They attribute their symptoms to not being disciplined enough, creating a dangerous downward spiral. Deadly habit number 2, chronic high-intensity exercise without adequate recovery. The American fitness landscape is dominated by a simple mantra: more is better. High-intensity interval training, HIIT, CrossFit-style workouts, and extreme endurance challenges have become the gold standard of commitment to fitness. The resulting culture glorifies pushing through pain, maximizing caloric burn, and treating exercise as a form of virtuous suffering. This approach might be killing you slowly. Dr. Robert Mazzeo, exercise physiologist at the University of Colorado, puts it bluntly. We're seeing an epidemic of what we call exercise-induced adrenal dysfunction among recreational fitness enthusiasts who believe they're doing everything right. The science is clear and concerning. Research from the American College of Sports Medicine shows that excessive high-intensity exercise without adequate recovery creates a perfect storm of physiological stress. Each session triggers an acute inflammatory response and microscopic tissue damage, which is normal and beneficial when allowed to recover. But without sufficient recovery time, this inflammation becomes chronic and systemic. The consequences can be severe and counterintuitive. Elevated resting cortisol levels that promote abdominal fat storage, exactly what most exercisers are trying to reduce. Increased oxidative stress and free radical production that accelerates cellular aging. Impaired mitochondrial function, reducing energy production and recovery capacity. Depressed immune function, making you more susceptible to infections and illnesses. Disrupted sleep architecture, particularly the deep sleep phases, essential for tissue repair. Elite athletes have long understood the critical importance of programmed recovery and periodization, systematic variations in training intensity and volume. Yet the average American fitness enthusiast often adopts the intensity of professional training without the sophisticated recovery protocols. Dr. Mazzeo notes a particularly troubling pattern. We see patients who diligently track every calorie burned and step taken, but have no metrics for recovery or stress management. They're essentially driving their bodies at redline RPM constantly, then wondering why the engine fails. The case of Jessica, a 36-year-old elementary school teacher from Denver, exemplifies this dangerous approach. A dedicated fitness enthusiast, she prided herself on never missing her daily 5 a.m. HIIT class, often doubling up with evening runs or strength sessions. I was convinced that any day without an intense workout was a failure, she recalls. My Apple Watch became like an external conscience, pushing me to close my rings no matter how exhausted I felt. After 2 years of this regimen, Jessica was diagnosed with what her doctors called paradoxical deconditioning syndrome. Her physical fitness markers were actually declining despite increased training volume. Her resting heart rate had climbed from an athletic 52 beats per minute to an alarming 78. Blood tests revealed elevated inflammatory markers typically seen in people recovering from major trauma or infection. The hardest part to accept, Jessica admits, was that my dedication to health was actually destroying it. I had to completely relearn what healthy exercise looks like. Deadly habit. Number 3, daily consumption of healthy, ultra-processed foods. Walk through any supermarket's health food section, and you'll find shelves lined with protein bars, green powders, meal replacement shakes, and countless packaged products boldly claiming to be clean, natural, or superfood enriched. These products have become dietary staples for health-conscious Americans, replacing whole foods with what we mistakenly believe are more nutrient-dense, convenient alternatives. We've been sold the comforting idea that we can outsource our nutrition to food scientists and marketing experts who promise optimal health in a convenient package. The reality is far more concerning. According to research published in the journal Cell Metabolism, many health foods undergo processing methods nearly identical to their overtly unhealthy counterparts. The only meaningful difference is often the marketing language and the premium price point. Dr. Kevin Hall, senior investigator at the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, led a groundbreaking study comparing the metabolic effects of ultra-processed foods labeled as healthy versus their conventional counterparts. The findings were disturbing. We observed nearly identical blood glucose spikes, inflammatory markers, and adverse changes to the gut microbiome regardless of whether the product was marketed as a health food or conventional processed item. The problem isn't just what these foods contain, it's what they're missing. Food scientist Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn explains, when we create shelf-stable products with appealing textures and flavors, we necessarily remove many of the complex compounds found in whole foods. The very compounds emerging research suggests are most critical for cellular health. These missing elements include complex fiber matrices that can't be replicated by adding isolated fiber supplements, phytochemicals and antioxidant compounds that exist in delicate relationship with other plant compounds, enzymes and cofactors, destroyed by processing that aid digestion and nutrient absorption. Beneficial bacteria present on minimally processed foods that support gut health, naturally occurring fatty acid profiles altered by extraction and stabilization processes. Even more concerning is what these products often add. A 2024 analysis by the Environmental Working Group identified an average of 17 synthetic additives in health food products, compared to 19 in conventional processed foods. A negligible difference, Many of these additives fall into regulatory gray areas. Just because an ingredient is derived from a natural source doesn't mean it behaves naturally in the body, cautions Dr. Blackburn. Many so-called natural flavors and preservatives undergo extensive chemical modification before reaching the final product. Take Thomas, a 41-year-old software developer from Boston, who replaced most of his meals with premium protein shakes, bars, and other engineered foods marketed to health-conscious consumers. I genuinely believed I was giving my body optimal nutrition, he recalls. These products had fancy ingredients I couldn't pronounce, clinically proven claims, and professional athlete endorsements. After 18 months of this dietary approach, Thomas developed severe digestive issues, persistent brain fog, and inexplicable inflammatory symptoms across multiple body systems. Extensive testing eventually revealed significant disruption to his gut microbiome and elevated levels of specific inflammatory markers associated with metabolic endotoxemia, a condition where bacterial byproducts leak through a compromised intestinal barrier. The most frustrating part, Thomas shares, was realizing I'd spent thousands of dollars on premium health products that were actively damaging my health. I was literally paying extra to make myself sick. Deadly habit. Number 4, hydration, obsession, and clean water. Extremism. We've all heard the mantra, drink more water. 8 glasses a day. Carry a water bottle everywhere. Stay ahead of your thirst. This advice seems unassailable. Water is essential to life after all. But like many health recommendations, it's been taken to harmful extremes in ways that can actively damage your health. Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, kidney specialist and professor at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, challenges the hydration orthodoxy. There's virtually no scientific evidence supporting the 8 glasses a day rule for everyone. It's a fabricated guideline that ignores the tremendous variability in individual needs based on body size, activity level, climate, and diet. More concerning is the growing trend of excessive water consumption Dr. Goldfarb calls hydration anxiety, the fear-driven belief that constant, aggressive hydration is necessary for optimal health. We're seeing patients who are literally forcing themselves to drink when they're not thirsty, believing they're detoxifying or optimizing their health, he explains. In reality, they're placing enormous stress on their kidneys and potentially disrupting their electrolyte balance. This obsession has spawned an entire industry of specialized water products: alkaline water, hydrogen-enriched water, molecular hydrogen tablets, and countless filtration systems promising to make your water cleaner, more structured, or more bioavailable. Dr. Catherine Zaratsky, nutritionist at Mayo Clinic, sees a disturbing pattern. Many patients are spending thousands on elaborate water systems based on pseudoscientific claims, while potentially creating new problems with excessive filtration. The consequences of hydration extremism can include hyponatremia, dangerously low sodium levels from drinking too much water too quickly, mineral deficiencies from exclusive consumption of distilled or overfiltered water, disruption of natural thirst, mechanisms from forcing fluid intake beyond physiological need, false security that water consumption compensates for poor lifestyle choices, unnecessary environmental waste from disposable plastic water bottles, and filtration materials. Consider the case of Megan, a 34-year-old yoga instructor from Portland who became convinced that drinking a gallon of specially filtered alkaline water daily was essential for her health. I spent nearly $3,000 on a top-of-the-line filtration system, she recalls. I carried multiple water bottles everywhere and set alarms to remind me to drink, even when I wasn't thirsty. Within months, Megan began experiencing strange symptoms: persistent headaches, muscle cramps, and unusual fatigue. Medical tests revealed severely imbalanced electrolyte levels and early signs of kidney stress. Her physician traced these issues directly to her extreme hydration practices and the absence of naturally occurring minerals in her overfiltered water. I was so fixated on having the cleanest water possible that I created an entirely new health problem, she acknowledges. Deadly habit. Number 5. Supplement stacking. Without strategic testing. The American supplement industry has exploded into a $55 billion behemoth, with the average health-conscious consumer now taking between 7-12 different supplements daily. We've been conditioned to believe that more supplementation equals better health, especially when those supplements are marketed as natural, activated, or bioavailable. Dr. Mark Hyman, functional medicine physician and best-selling author, sees a troubling pattern. Patients come to me taking 20, 30 different supplements daily with no strategic approach, no testing to confirm deficiencies, and no monitoring of results. They're essentially conducting uncontrolled chemical experiments on their bodies. The reality is that supplements, even high-quality ones, are not benign inputs. Each introduces bioactive compounds that interact with your unique physiology, genetic predispositions, and other supplements in ways that can be unpredictable and potentially harmful. Research from the University of Colorado Medical Center found that 67% of patients taking multiple supplements experienced at least one adverse interaction, though most didn't attribute their symptoms to their supplement regimen. These interactions can include competitive absorption, blocking the uptake of essential nutrients, altered metabolism of medications, creating dangerous concentrations, excessive intake of fat-soluble vitamins that can accumulate to toxic levels, immune system overactivation from certain immune-boosting supplements, disruption of delicate hormonal feedback loops from endocrine-active compounds. Even more concerning is what Dr. Hyman calls supplement distraction. The tendency to use supplements as a psychological permission slip to avoid more fundamental lifestyle changes. Many patients are taking mitochondrial support supplements while sleeping 5 hours a night, or consuming anti-inflammatory compounds while maintaining highly inflammatory diets and lifestyles, he explains. The case of Robert, a 45-year-old investment banker from New York, illustrates this dangerous approach. Determined to optimize his health while maintaining his high-stress lifestyle, Robert built what he called his optimal performance stack. 22 different supplements, taken at precisely scheduled intervals throughout the day. I was spending over $200 monthly on premium supplements, he recounts. I had spreadsheets tracking my intake and was convinced I was giving my body everything it needed. After 9 months on this regimen, Robert's annual executive physical revealed alarming changes, elevated liver enzymes, signs of kidney stress, and paradoxically, several new nutrient deficiencies that hadn't been present before his supplement experiment. Comprehensive testing revealed that several of his supplements were competing for absorption pathways, creating secondary deficiencies. Others were placing significant strain on his detoxification systems. Most concerning, his high-dose antioxidant regimen had actually increased certain oxidative stress markers, a phenomenon researchers call antioxidant paradox. Deadly habit. Number 6. Sleep technology that disrupts natural sleep architecture. Quality. Sleep has finally earned recognition as a cornerstone of good health, prompting a flood of sleep tracking technologies, smart mattresses, specialized lighting, and pharmaceutical sleep aids. The sleep optimization market now exceeds $30 billion annually in the United States alone. But sleep experts are raising alarms about how these interventions may be creating a new class of problems. Dr. Matthew Walker, neuroscientist and sleep researcher at UC Berkeley, observes, "We're seeing a troubling trend of sleep technology dependency, where people become so fixated on their sleep metrics that they create a new form of insomnia, anxiety about their sleep data that actually makes natural sleep more difficult." This phenomenon has been dubbed orthosomnia, an unhealthy obsession with perfecting sleep metrics. Research from the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine documents rising cases of sleep disruption, specifically linked to sleep tracking technology. But the problems extend beyond tracking obsession. Many popular sleep interventions fundamentally misunderstand or oversimplify the complex neurobiology of sleep. Pharmaceutical sleep aids may increase total sleep time while disrupting critical sleep phases and suppressing essential REM sleep. Blue light blocking technology addresses one aspect of sleep disruption while ignoring natural circadian variability. Temperature-regulating sleep systems may create artificial environments that fail to support natural temperature fluctuations. Important for sleep cycle transitions. Noise machines and cancellation technology can prevent the brain from processing environmental sounds that normally occur during lighter sleep phases. Dr. Christopher Winter, neurologist and sleep medicine specialist, explains the paradox. Many patients are using so many sleep optimization products that they have completely disconnected from their body's natural sleep signals. They've outsourced their sleep to technology rather than developing genuine sleep literacy. Consider Jennifer, a 39-year-old management consultant from Chicago who became increasingly reliant on an elaborate sleep optimization system. A premium smart mattress, customized cooling system, sleep tracking ring, specialized supplements, prescription sleep medication, and a rigorous pre-sleep routine. I was obsessively checking my sleep scores each morning and would feel intense anxiety if my metrics weren't perfect, she admits. If my deep sleep percentage was lower than my target, I'd be convinced my health was suffering and would adjust my entire system. Eventually, Jennifer found herself unable to sleep without her complete technological system. During a power outage, she experienced a full-blown panic attack when her sleep technology became unavailable. Her sleep specialist diagnosed her with technology-dependent insomnia and began the long process of helping her reconnect with her body's natural sleep signals. Deadly. Habit number 7, digital wellness, tracking obsession. Perhaps the most insidious of all the deadly habits masquerading as healthy is the growing obsession with tracking, quantifying, and optimizing every aspect of health through digital means. The average health-conscious American now interacts with 5 to 8 different health tracking applications daily, monitoring everything from steps and calories to heart rate variability and sleep efficiency. This explosion of biometric data collection has created what Dr. Michael Snyder of Stanford University calls the quantified self paradox, where the very tools intended to improve health create new forms of psychological stress that actively undermine well-being. The constant self-surveillance and comparison to arbitrary numerical targets creates a chronic low-grade stress state, explains Dr. Snyder. Many patients are literally damaging their nervous systems in pursuit of perfect health metrics. Research from the American Psychological Association has identified a new condition called metric anxiety, persistent stress specifically related to tracking and achieving health-related numerical targets. This condition is associated with elevated cortisol levels, sleep disruption, and paradoxical declines in objective health markers. The most concerning aspect is how these technologies train us to override our body's natural feedback systems. Humans evolve sophisticated interoceptive capabilities, the ability to sense and respond to internal bodily states, explains Dr. Ellen Langer, Harvard psychologist. When we outsource these assessments to external devices, we systematically disconnect from our most reliable health guidance system. The consequences extend beyond psychological stress. Persistent cortisol elevation from metric anxiety damages mitochondrial function. Over-reliance on external metrics atrophies natural interoceptive abilities. Binary thinking about health, meeting targets versus O's, failing, creates harmful all-or-nothing behaviors. The illusion of control through tracking creates false security. The social comparison dimension of health tracking apps triggers shame responses that suppress immune function. The path forward isn't abandoning health awareness, but developing a fundamentally different relationship with your body, one based on attunement rather than control, awareness rather than surveillance, and internal wisdom rather than external validation. As Dr. Langer concludes, true health isn't achieved through perfect adherence to external metrics. It emerges from a respectful, attuned relationship with your body's inherent intelligence. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to share in the comments which of these 7 deadly habits surprised you most. Your insight might help someone else recognize a health trap they've unwittingly fallen into. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that challenges conventional wellness narratives and offers genuine paths to vibrant health beyond the hype and marketing. Together, we can build a healthier relationship with health itself, one that honors your body's wisdom rather than subjugating it to the latest trends. Remember, your body isn't a machine to be optimized, but a complex living system with its own profound intelligence. Perhaps the most radical health choice you can make is to start listening to that intelligence again.